Make it bigger. Like
We make it
this.
bigger, then you can't
Oh,
read
then
the
you can't
comments.
see the thing. Oh, well, we're spinning a little bit, so hopefully.
You're live now.
Oh,
There
now
we
we're
go.
live. Hi, everybody.
Oh,
Welcome to the Healing Solutions Center and to Crazy Chicks Chatting plus one. And Anna's not in it that much. Very good. Let me come closer to you. Okay.
hello.
We're squeezed together. How is everybody tonight? So we thought we would come on just a couple of minutes early to give everybody a chance to get the notification to come on to join us before we start our lovely conversation this evening. We always have fun here tonight and every Wednesday night. And I don't know, anybody else have anything they want to say while we're waiting for people to come?
I mean, it's March 1st, so welcome to March.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I think spring officially begins March 20th.
22nd, I think.
I'm
22nd?
ready.
22nd, that's
Although
the
I will miss
spring-
my fires.
I know.
Right? But yes, what are you saying? I'm sorry.
Listen,
spring
I haven't
what?
even had the heat on since I can't remember when.
Yeah.
Air conditioner, all the way.
I haven't turned mine on yet.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I haven't even, I
Wow.
don't think I really ever, I think I go directly from heat to air, from air to heat.
Hi, Jamie. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Welcome to Wednesday.
Oh, hi, Karen. Hi, Jamie. I didn't see that link, by the way. Did you put that in the discussion?
For Jamie?
Yeah, that's for Jamie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jamie, in a little while, we'll ask you to post the link again for the fundraiser that you're doing in Lily's honor. So in a little bit, and I'll bring it up again. So just you put it on the page. Okay. Go ahead. Put it here in a little bit. Drop it in there.
Oh, you
when
did
I
put it on the
see you
page.
drop it on there.
Okay.
I'll let everybody know what it's for.
I'll take a look at that. Thank you.
Did I see? Is that Tracy's here? I missed someone that came on.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Here.
I was looking right
Um,
Let me
look.
see. Let's see. Right over here. Let me go here.
Let's see.
Karen, Tracy. Hey, Tracy. Hi, honey. That's my friend Tracy. Oh, I just talked like a baby. Sorry.
I'm trying to shut that.
Shut the volume
I
of
want
it.
to just be able, I
You
didn't.
gotta put the volume down.
I know.
Anywho-ha. Well, listen, we're playing around with this, learning how to do this all. So have patience with us, and thanks for joining us and for supporting us. Hi, Andrea. It's so good to see you. Hi, Heather. Hello! Exclamation. No, it's really good to have you ladies join us and feel supported like this. And we're really, really grateful for that and for being a part of this discussion, because this couldn't happen without you guys. You give us a lot of ideas about what you want to talk about, and if there's something that you do want to talk about tonight, feel free to put that in the comments. I love you. And we'll see if we can touch on that. So we were talking before about, well, what do we want to touch on? Is there anything? And I had a really rough few weeks, and I was feeling very overwhelmed and very stressed out and angry, and for the first time in a very, very long time, I wanted to run the other day. Like, I just wanted to run. I told my husband, let's just sell the house. We're going to sell the house. As I said that, as I was walking out the door going somewhere, being a part of the community. But, I think that for me, that's, hi, my baby Ruby. I think that's really, something that I do. I have done throughout, my life, is that when I get too overwhelmed and too stressed, I want to run. I want to get in bed. I want to hide. I want to be an ostrich. And I don't know whether anybody else feels like that, but I certainly did, definitely, for a couple of days. And that's hard for me. I don't like feeling that way. I really, listen, I get stressed probably at least once a day, just like everybody else, but I recover from it pretty quickly. Like I might be stressed and talk about it for a half an hour, and then I usually can let go. Even if I come back to that same stress, I can usually let go of it for a while and get back to happy. And this time I couldn't. It was like maybe like 2 weeks, I think, or a week and a half of just pure stress. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Maria.
Glad you're here. You're awake. Yay. So, you know, it really was difficult for me, and I didn't like feeling that way. It was difficult for me. I didn't like the feeling of wanting to run. I felt because I wanted to run that I was in an unmanageable place, and I was ugly crying at the eye center in Walmart, like sobbing because the doctor there was mean to me. And that is the Walmart in Dunellen, Florida. Don't go there. The doctor was cruel and mean. I'm just letting you know. Doesn't have anything to do with Walmart. And I will say, and also this is at the Dunellen Walmart, that the girls there, the manager there, that they were so nice to me. They were so incredibly sweet, and I was so grateful for them because they, really made me feel like they cared. And I live in a small town, so that was really important to me. And their kindness really meant something. Like, it was invaluable to me. And I think that it's one of the things that I have been having a big problem with lately is the lack of kindness that I've run into with people. And listen, I'm not always, I think I am pretty kind. Sometimes I'm a little rough around the edges, but I think I always try and take people's into consideration. And I was talking to a friend of mine. Hey, Trisha. I was talking to a friend of mine, Rachel, yesterday morning, and we were talking about how, people have really changed a lot, and that people don't want to work, and they really treat their jobs, and the people that they're working with, and like there's no value there. And so I said, well, when did this all happen? And she said, well, it happened during COVID, after COVID. Hi, Audra. Hi, Heather. I'm prone to run too. When fight or flight kicks in, I run. I have to work hard to stay put and deal with stuff. Yeah, I know, and it is hard. It is hard. So I think that. Oh, sorry, I got distracted. I think, here, you want to use that? Like that? Is that what you're looking for? I think that, what she said was that she's been listening to some podcasts, and what she found was that there are, when you have me struggling with being too kind, it gets taken advantage of. You know what? I'd rather be being the one being taken advantage of than the one taking advantage. Because then I can't love myself, and that's really what it comes down to for me. So I'm sorry. Let me go back to that. Jamie said, I read it. Where you have me who's struggling with being too kind, in quotes, it gets me taken advantage of. And you know what? It does. But the thing is that there's a reason. So there's many reasons why we're too kind, right? It could be codependency, that we want people to like us. It could be that we truly care and we just are kind people and we want to love ourselves, and we don't want to go to sleep at night thinking, I wasn't a good person. And I think that for me, I think a lot of it is I don't want to go to bed thinking I was not a good person, because that will keep me awake, and it will get me hating myself. And it's really, selfish to want to be kind to make myself feel good about who I am, in a way. But it's a selfish that serves everyone. It serves the universe. It serves my neighbor. It serves, my friends and my family. And, don't get me wrong. Like, I think that we need to be wary and we don't need to put ourselves in positions where we're going to get hurt and be with people that hurt us. But, I don't know. I just couldn't live with myself if I wasn't kind. I really couldn't. And, you know, sometimes I am sitting and having conversations with myself, and it goes something like this, like, well, I'm not going to go through a conversation, but I will tell you what it's about. So what it's about is something happens, I want to do the wrong thing, right? But if I do the wrong thing and I'm not kind, then I'm not going to like myself. And so I get all this conversation in my head that wants me to do things that are not really serving anybody. Hi, Susan. Nice to see you. Maria, we want to give people enough room to do their dance without interference and hope our toes don't get stomped on in the process. Yeah, so true. But it's really, it always comes down to me, right? How I feel about myself. And I was saying before that, a lot of people in the name of self-care, and taking care of themselves will hurt other people. And for me, self-care, is not hurting other people so that I can feel good about things, but it's also not hurting myself so I don't hurt other people. But I definitely take other people into consideration because I think part of self-care is loving yourself. And I guess it comes down to what you believe in, what your values and your morals and your principles are, because if you think it's okay to hurt somebody else to make yourself feel okay, then I guess then no harm, no foul, right? But that's not how it works for me. So when people are unkind, which I've found, lately I've run into a lot of people who are not. And I think that's going around. I think everybody's so angry, right? I mean, I know I felt really angry, this week. But that really, it affects my heart. It really affects my heart. So, I have a lot going on, but one of the things that happened was I had an eye doctor's appointment a few weeks ago, and she told me she thinks that I might have glaucoma, and she wants me to go to a specialist. So they're supposed to call me, and they didn't call me, so I called them again, and I say, I was never called, and they said, okay, so then they called me. So I make an appointment, I go in to see the doctor, and the doctor diagnoses me with a rare form of glaucoma, which is,
Angle something.
Yeah, it's, why can't I think of the name? Something angle glaucoma. Anyway, I'll think of it. It's irrelevant what the name is. Anyway, I find out that the day after he sees me, he's going on vacation. Well, okay, I don't know why he would schedule a new patient the day before he's going on vacation when he knows has a possibility of diagnosing them with, a rare kind of glaucoma. But then I find out that they set me up for surgery, and that he's going to do the surgery, and then you have to do it in two, one eye, and then wait 2 weeks and do the other eye. So the second one, he's retiring the day after the surgery. I'm like, and he wasn't nice. He wasn't kind about it. And when I mentioned, maybe, this wasn't going to work for me, maybe I should see the doctor who's doing the follow-up should maybe do the surgery, they got very nasty with me. And to me, you don't just tell somebody that they have something, that if you have an attack and you go to the emergency room, what they're going to do is they're going to call somebody like me, but we won't make it there. You'll be blind before somebody gets to you. That's exactly what he said to me. And not saying, but we need to take care of this right away. Maybe you need to go to another doctor. Nothing like that. And I just felt very dismissed, and I felt irrelevant and unimportant, and that was just one of the things. And I just think doctors are just not as kind as they used to be. Do you remember when you were a kid and you had like the doctor, the neighborhood doctor, and he knew everybody, and he knew your name, and he knew your brothers, and he knew your sisters, he knew your mother, he knew
your
your
aunts and your
father,
cousins
and
and-
your cousin,
oh,
and
yeah.
everybody else. And it was like, hey, they made house calls back then, and all this kind of like great stuff, and I'm so glad that we make progress, but to me, it's not so good to not make that kind of progress. To make progress that takes us away from being kind and loving. And anyway, I'm gonna let you guys talk now.
I have so much to say, Beth. I don't know if you want to.
You have so much to say.
I do. I always have a lot to say. My ex-husband used to say, "You got to slap me once to make me talk and twice to make me shut up." Not that he'd ever slapped me, by the way. That's not what I was hinting at. It's hard for me to really speak on that, even though I have so much to say, because it's going to touch on some things that you normally wouldn't hear in a health and, wellness sort of situation. But you have to think of the state of the world that we're in right now. And I really believe that even though many of us who are alternative healthcare providers, or many of us at home who are taking care of ourselves through diet, meditation, self-awareness, and transformation, maybe you see a life coach, maybe you do breath and healing work and sound bowls, and so some of us don't know what's going on in the world, and we don't know how it affects us. But in a spiritual manner, there's all kinds of things that are happening right now that affect you, even if you don't tune into the news, even if you don't pay attention to what's going on. Whether you like it or not, or know it or not, the situations that are going on planet Earth, they do affect us, even though we do our best by going to sound baths and crystal bowls and doing meditation and eating healthy and exercise and self-care. There's a lot of things that are going on that affect our mental health, even if you're not watching one of the major news stations.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not even about me, but I internalize it. It's about them. So when you're talking about this lack of kindness, I think that one of the reasons it's happening, and please don't click goodbye because I say this, is because we're commodities and consumers. And we've stopped recognizing people's internal holiness, value, worth to society, even at your doctor's office. A lot of doctors,
Yes.
and I work in what should be one of the most kind and compassionate fields of addiction and recovery. And some of the stories I hear are less than kind. And I have to tell you, and I'm just going to put it out there, a lot of people who are looking for help turn into a commodity. Okay, and I'm just going to call it like it is, because I've seen it too many times not to call it out. A lot of people who are looking for help turn into vulnerable prey. And when we're looking at each other through the lens of being a commodity, we're not going to be able to be kind. In my opinion only. Is that the only thing that's going on? No, it's not the only thing, but I do believe that we have, to a certain degree, lost the ability to see the divinity in one another. Now, maybe not you guys at home, because we're the folk that promote that, right? If you're tuning in here, at some level, you do pay attention to the value and connection that you have with your fellow human beings and possibly the planet and all sentient beings. But let's face facts, guys. What are there, 10, 12 of us tuned in? Sometimes I don't know if we're winning. I'll just say it out loud. Sometimes I feel like a lot more of this type of thing needs to go on. And that's one of the reasons why the three of us are here tonight is because I want to tell you, I see you.
Yes.
I see your value. I see your worth. I see your divinity and your holiness. And I just want to tell you, keep going. I just want to say to you, even when you come up against unkind people, please don't shy away. Don't be a pushover, okay? Not saying that either. To get it straight here. There's a difference between being kind and being a pushover. I know there's some comments, and I keep talking.
I'm going to read them when you're
done.
done.
We'll go back through. But part of our power is in kindness.
Yes.
Part of a power is in recognizing the holiness and the value of the people that we come in contact with. So I guess carry that message with you.
Yes.
You guys are spiritual warriors or you wouldn't be here. So I would say if you can to carry that message with you and maybe this week be even more conscious of that as you are with your fellow humans.
Well, and I want to also say that, and we say this every week, is that, you have to have a tribe. You have to have people that you can go to and talk to when you're feeling this way. And if I had not had Beth and Anna, to talk to, I called you on the road and you talked me off the ledge, and
so it's basically because of me that she didn't sell the house. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna say you can thank me for that. I'm sure Beth's data
True story.
played a part in that.
Yes. Yeah. So while we're laughing, let me read some of these comments. So Audra wrote, "You're your own advocate. If you need a second opinion, you should get one. You need to feel comfortable with your doctor." And I did, and I've called around, and I have. Karen wrote, "For me, it's checking my motives so I know that I'm true to myself in my interactions while trying to remember that what other people say or do is about them. Easier said than done, but it helps me." Anne Marie said, "Hi, I'm here." Susan wrote, "I always thought moving to a smaller city than Miami that people would be kinder. I've learned it's not the size of the city. Unfortunately, I have found myself becoming somewhat hardened towards more situations. My husband tells me that it's just me being protective of my heart." And Heather wrote, "For me, it's checking my motives. So Heather wrote, exactly. It's not even about me, but I internalize it. It's about them." And Susan wrote, "I think the whole teledoc thing has also made the healthcare profession become less caring." And Anne-Marie wrote, "Because we live in a materialistic society, money can be an addiction." And Karen wrote, "Yes." Anne-Marie wrote, "So we
I
have..."
just want to stop you 1 second. It's not, can you read, who was it? Because we live in a materialistic society. Do you know what goes really closely with that? We live in a disposable society.
Yeah.
And materialism is kind of, that's what came to my mind when you read that. It's so disposable that we can throw away people.
Yes.
And relationships. And, I don't know, guys, growing up, I remember my grandma had friends.
Yes, forever.
Forever. She also took very good care of what she had in her life. Her car. Do you remember the car? Like they had to change the oil every 3,000 miles.
Yeah.
They kept the same car forever.
For years and years.
Everything.
So that
Couch,
disposable
plastic.
nature, where it's we don't have to be committed to anything, and it's kind of that materialism and the disposable nature of things.
Yeah.
It's actually quite disgusting.
It is.
And so thank you for bringing that up. That just clicked.
I think that, with relationships, people being disposable, I think that part of the problem is that people think that relationships should not have any issues, any
That's
problems.
not true.
And that if you love me, and I love you, that there
Everything
will
will be
be
fine.
nothing wrong with it. And the truth is that when you really care about somebody and you love them, whether it's, a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend,
A
or
child.
a friend, a child, a brother, a sister, it's really not about, that we're not going to ever hate each other, or we're not going to dislike each other, or we're not going to disagree. What it's about is that I love you so much that I'm going to work through this with you.
Yes.
I'm going to stick and stay with you. You're not disposable to me. You are important to me, and you're so important to me. Hey, Kathy, you're so important to me. Hey, Louisa, that I am going to do whatever it takes to make this relationship work. And I'm willing to go through the ups and downs with you because you're important to me. And I think that's really part of what you're talking about, is that we've become disposable because people want instant gratification. They don't want to have to work for anything. They don't want to have to work for relationships. If something isn't easy, if something doesn't feel good in the moment, they just unplug and they're
And that's it.
gone. They're gone.
We're looking
And
whether we
Yeah.
like to talk about it or admit it. I would say most of us, at least here in the U.S. and probably in developed countries, at least, we're addicts in the biggest way. Whether it's drugs, alcohol, shopping, feelings, social media, we're so disconnected. Anne Marie talks about being disconnected from the authentic self. Listen, I'm 44. Okay, I know. Surprised. And I find myself forgetting how to spell words because I'm so used to autocorrect. I find myself not having to think for myself. Oh, and now we have a Chat GPT. Google just laid off like 12% of its people because now it can be done. All the writing can be done through Chat GPT.
I don't even know what that is.
It's you guys know. I know that some of you guys out there know exactly what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. But again, that's the disregard for humanity. Everything's been so automated. How can we be authentic when everything's automated? Nothing's authentic anymore. You don't have to think for yourself. You don't have to act for yourself. And in a lot of cases, you don't have to be responsible for yourself.
Susan wants to know what GPT is.
It's Chat GPT. I'm going to encourage you guys to do your own research. Do not take my word for anything ever. I make half this shit up as I go along, okay? So do your own research. Chat GPT. Can one of you guys just put that in the comments so people can do their own research? I don't want, any misunderstandings. I want people to be able to think for themselves. I'll tell you in a nutshell, it's basically, here's half the dang phone book now. Who knows their own? Chat GPT, thank you. It's basically AI that can take all the information that's on the web and write content. So imagine what that can do. And anybody can do it. There are apps that we could do it if we wanted to.
Right.
I mean, anybody can do it. But these companies are taking over, and now we have Chat GPT. So where's the authenticity in having AI write our content for us? And I know that we're way off course here, but I want to bring it back to humans being disposable.
So, yes. So Tracy wrote, yes, I agree, but some people are toxic for my soul and well-being, and in those situations I find it necessary to walk away. Yes, and I agree with you. I think, listen, there comes a time when, and because you know me very well, Tracy, and we talk a lot, that I had a best friend for 13 years that I had to walk away from because she was toxic and she was hurtful, and because she wasn't in her right mind, and she was behaving in ways that were not
Damaging.
that were damaging to me and my family. And so, yes, I walked away, and you had a very similar situation. So I think that there are definitely times when you have to walk away, but I'm talking on a day-to-day, not something that is detrimental to you or your family or anything like that. Just, you get mad at people sometimes. You don't just walk away because you get mad at somebody, if it's, I want to call it an innocent angry. Does that make sense? An innocent angry? Yeah. So Heather wrote, I agree, Susan. We just give up and walk away whenever things get tough in relationships. When we love others, it means that we stick it out when we disagree or are upset. I'm trying not to give up on people. And me too. And so I think that there are degrees of of it. And I don't think that you stay in a situation that is toxic. I think that if somebody is abusive, then you got to go. And people can be abusive in many ways other than physical. It doesn't have to be physical to be abusive situation. Verbal, hurting people intentionally. So what I find that is one of the most dangerous things about relationships and scary things for me is that when I am in a relationship with somebody and I trust somebody, they know exactly where to hit me to hurt me the most, right? Yes. And so if somebody is using the things that you tell them, entrusting them with love and needing them to be there to hear you, if they're taking those things that could be damaging and throwing that at you as a knife, then that's a time when you say, this isn't good for me. I'm not gonna let you use it. Maybe you give them one more chance, one time, but the second time, no, you leave. But I'm talking about the everyday little, I didn't like that you said peas and I said carrots. Things like I'm being simple, but you know what I mean.
Well, I think that there's a certain amount of kindness that we expect from people, like our medical doctor, healthcare professionals, attorneys, mechanics. Let's see, who else? The hairdresser is generally pretty nice, right? I've never really had a problem.
The lady who checks you out at the grocery store.
Yeah, generally.
Most of them are
Public,
really nice.
Actually, public staff has always been extremely kind.
I
don't
Yes.
know how they do that. I feel like everybody needs to go through Publix training on how to be a kind human being, because they're always
nice.
super kind. The Dollar General or Dollar Store.
They're always pretty nice.
But you even said it earlier, people don't really want to work, and so our jobs have also become disposable.
Well, and also let me say, because of that, the people that are working are incredibly stressed.
Yes.
They are working more, they're doing more. They don't have enough energy to work for 3 people. So it's detrimental. And so that is a really good thing, is that I was saying before how people don't realize that when they decide in the name of self-care and in the name of, taking care of themselves, and they know what's really important, they don't realize when they don't work or they walk off a job in the middle of the day or whatever it is, that they don't only affect themselves, they don't affect only their bosses, the other employees, the people who need their services or their goods. It ripples out to the universe. It's just like when you do something nice and it ripples out. We talk about that all the time, but we don't talk about the ripple when people are, in the name of self-care, selfish. And that happens all the time. And I think that it's a very slippery slope, because we do want to take care of ourselves and we do want self-care and self-love. It's so important. If you're not taking care of yourself, you can't help anybody else, but you don't do it at somebody else's expense.
I know that for me recently, I have felt very frustrated, in like probably pretty much every aspect of my life. I've been walking in some situations where this exact thing has come up for me, this self-care, and then almost like a sense of entitlement that comes with it, that
Yes.
like I should be respectful of their needs and their wants, but mine aren't taken into consideration. And so for me, I find that frustrating. And I try to be a really, really kind person. And I think it's generally my nature to be that way. I was taught as a little girl that you love everybody. It
Yes.
doesn't matter who they are, whether it's the garbage man or it's the principal of the school or it's the president of the United States. That's how my mama taught me. And so
Right.
that's what that's what I learned. And so that's who I am. And I have just been so frustrated with people. And I don't get frustrated easily. Like, I'm pretty laid back. I'm pretty easygoing. And, and Susan will tell you, stuff just rolls off my back like water off a duck. That's just who I am. But boy, and I have found that it has made me extremely tired. I want to withdraw. I don't want to interact with people. And I just want to crawl in a hole. And that's kind of where I've been. But I will tell you this. Some of these situations have come up. And where I wouldn't have put a boundary before for myself, I've put one in place. Mm-hmm. Because I've started to love myself a little bit more than I loved myself, the day before or last year. And I'm getting to a good point where I'm not letting how they want me to treat them affect me. I can say, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to play that game with you. I'm not going to walk down that road with you. And that's a huge step for me, to be able to stand up for me. And I do it in a kind way, or I just don't engage. And I don't have to. I can make a choice to engage or to not engage. So, that's kind of where I've been. And,
So we have a lot of comments, and I'd like to read some of them.
I know I cut you off earlier. I'm so
So-
sorry. If you want to go back up to where.
No, that's okay. So, Susan wrote, mad is one thing. I'll work on that relationship until we come to a meeting of minds. But when someone is toxic, I have to close my heart to them. Absolutely. There's a difference between working on a relationship and being taken advantage of. There's a big difference. And Audra said some of those people think your family or friendship obligates you to go down with them. They misuse the love you have for them. You have to love yourself more. Absolutely. And I think that we get caught up with, the title of people. Just because somebody is my mother doesn't mean that they are good people or that I have to, allow them to treat me any way that they choose to treat me. I think that the old adage, blood is thicker than water is great when you have healthy family members or semi-healthy family members. But when you don't, sometimes your friends are better family than that. So Jamie wrote, I was in an abusive relationship for 5 years, verbally, mentally, and emotionally. I now know how crazy it was to stay in that relationship for so long. But back then I loved him, and I thought sorry, I had to expand it. Where is it? Did I lose? I lost where I was. Sorry.
loving him more would make it.
Oh, loving him. And I thought loving him more would make him not be that way. But the ramifications of sticking around for so long have followed me 4 years later after we have been broken up. I notice things that I do, such as say sorry way too much in my relationship now, and it's not even on purpose. I just say sorry because I was taught in that relationship to say it because it was always my fault. So walking away from a toxic person is truly a blessing. I honestly wouldn't be here now if I didn't walk away. He was literally going to be the death of me. I have learned a lot from him, even though he was toxic. Absolutely.
Yes.
And then Maria wrote, I've been there. So grateful to be out. Karen wrote, we lack compromise today, getting our needs met, but taking into consideration the needs of others also, the delicate balance. So
Absolutely.
true. And Susan wrote, wow, this sounds exactly like my life then and now. And Audrey wrote, when you walk in the light, the devil is quick to pull on your shirt tails. Mm-hmm. And, and listen, it is truly being a wonderful example to others that you don't let people, take advantage of you and abuse you. And when I was talking about sticking and staying with relationships, it was not in those type of relationships. And it's in the normal, whatever's normal, relationships. I'm talking about like I get into a fight with my husband because he didn't do the dishes, and because he didn't do the dishes, I'm out the door. That's what I'm talking about. Little things that can really be worked out, or not that important, or friendships. Friendships that, hey, I saw you went on Facebook and you were out with the girls and you didn't invite me, and my feelings got hurt, so I don't want to be friends with you anymore. Or you don't like me anymore because you didn't invite me. Things like that. And people just walk away. They just totally disconnect. And it's really a self-protection thing, and I understand that. But it also separates us, and we are in this world where people are walking around angry, and people are disconnected, and people are not finding the value in one another, and taking advantage of one another. And so, valuing the friendships and valuing the relationships enough to say, hey, let's talk. Let's discuss this, because we can work this out. There's nothing that is so bad right here that we have to just cut and run. Nobody, gave each other the black eye or whatever. So I think that's more what I'm talking about when I'm talking about that.
Stick and stay.
That we run away too quickly. I was married before this marriage, and I stayed with him just under a year because he was abusive. And I grabbed my keys and my purse and I ran out the door, and I never have, that was the end of it for me, because I wasn't going to let somebody hurt me like that. But, my husband, my present husband, the good husband, he's, listen, we have our issues. We all have issues, but he's not beating me or hurting me. So I'm going to try and work out whatever issues we have. And then maybe we'll agree someday that we can't. Or maybe we'll agree someday that it all worked out. I don't know, but I'm not cutting and running.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make. But I also, want to get back to this whole kindness thing, because we were talking, I think it was last week, we were saying that, just being a little bit kind when you go out to the store, making somebody feel good or whatever, it makes a big difference. And I think that, when we're at a doctor or something, and we feel like we are beholden to them, imprisoned by them, nowhere else to go, and we don't open our mouths and we don't say, hey, wait a minute, no, you can't treat me that way, then we perpetuate this. And listen, when you're at a doctor and they're telling you some bad news and you don't want to, stir the pot because you're like desperate, well, it's understandable, but also people get in this pattern, this habit of thinking, hey, it's okay, I can just treat anybody the way I want to treat them, and not, really have a care.
Well, and I think that part of the reason that happens is that we don't rely on each other with the way that we used to. We used to need each other to survive.
Yes.
And we think we still do, but we think that we don't. We think that this thing called independence, which I think is very overrated.
Yeah.
Somehow makes us impenetrable. And that's not, in my opinion, the way that we're made to live together in communities. So...
Well, I mean, we're not made to be solitary creatures. Look at go back, even the cavemen.
Yeah.
Right?
And we had to
on
trust
one
each other. We had to, for survival's sake.
That's right.
To survive, we had to trust. And we had to be responsible, because it really... I'm making this all up, by the way. Don't believe a word I say. But if you think about it, we had to trust each other to survive.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to do that anymore, really. Does that make sense? We kind of don't. I mean, I can go to work, earn my paycheck, come home and pay my bill. I don't have to trust. So I think we've lost the art of how to trust because it's not a necessity for survival.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you go back far enough, it absolutely was a necessity. So when we lose the necessity or that life skill, that survival skill of trust, now it feels like it's very elusive. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, we don't really have to do it, but everything in us still, on a primal level, says you got to trust. Who do I trust? Who do I trust? We didn't have to ask who do you trust before. You trusted your community. You didn't ask who you trusted. Mm-hmm. You went to see the medicine woman. You went to see the medicine man. There was a person with a role, and they fulfilled their role. Mm-hmm. And they treated you well because you were family.
Right.
Now I don't even know you. Mm-hmm. And I got a quota to meet, right?
Right.
And so I really, when I really want to help you, I'm on a deadline, dude. Can we speed this up?
Yeah.
Whereas that's not how we're really made to live. My opinion only, which I have a lot of them. So that's what it feels like to me. It's like the trust factor it's not so necessary anymore.
So, I don't know what happened. So Tracy said Ruby. Yeah, she's not feeling so good. She went to the vet today. So, so where did I miss this? I used to know half the dang phone book. Now who knows their own? Audra said, yeah. And I don't see.
So while you're looking through the comment, if you want to read the last couple.
Let's read them from here because I can't find them here. You want to read them?
Okay, so I think that where we were was
that way.
Okay, so we came through Audra's, and it says, my mother always told me that resonates with me. It's not what we say, it's how we say it. Mm-hmm. And Crystal says, definitely. Maria says, absolutely on spot. Tracy says, Ruby. Mm-hmm. It says, absolutely. I feel as women, we believe or are taught that we need to prove we are capable and look down on for needing the camaraderie of others. So disappointing. Nobody honors trust, Anne-Marie says. Louisa says, I trust you, my family.
We trust you too. We love you, Lou.
This way.
It says, I agree. It used to be strangers were like family. Now, anymore family isn't even family half the time, Crystal says. Mm-hmm. They double book patients all the time anymore. This is what Audra says. It's a money thing these days. I know that for a fact. I worked in a medical practice at one time, and it was like, we have to have so many patients in, and they have to see this expert, this, for so many procedures and that kind of thing to make the dollar. But, I think the thing today I find is that, when somebody does go above and beyond, like, I'm taken aback, like, I'm surprised.
Yes.
Like, I'm like,
and
oh,
grateful.
wow. And grateful that, like, they did something extra for me. I mean, I think that was kind of actually like Susan and I just kind of walked through an experience that was like that. Mm-hmm. Two people coming to do some estimates. Yes. The one was kind of like, oh, this is the deal, and really didn't explain anything. And then the next guy showed up and was like a knight in shining armor, right?
So I need a new roof. And the second guy was like, hey, this stuff happened anyway. And we loved on him, and I gave him a hug. But
we're like, he's come back.
I do want to say, we're talking a lot about this, and everybody seems to agree. Jamie Lynn wrote, I work in the medical field in a cancer institute. Actually, the first thing my boss looks for is empathy And do you know how many people have lied about being empathetic and have gotten fired? So,
Well, thank goodness.
that's
that
the
you
thing.
are one of the
Tracy
good
wrote,
ones.
yeah, and Tracy
Awesome.
wrote, money's the root of all evil. But, okay, so we all agree we're kind of in a messed up society where people aren't kind and people aren't nice and relationships aren't what they used to be. So now my question is, so what do we do about that? How do we change that? And I can tell you that for myself, no matter how much I feel hurt, no matter how much I feel like I've been treated unkind, no matter how many people leave me in relationships, I still come back. I still come back for more. I never give up on people. I still want to have relationships. I still embrace everybody. I still love on everybody. Even when I'm angry, even when I'm mad, even when I'm hurt, I'm kind to other people. You know, I really work hard on being what I want to be and not being what I don't like. And that, is some of the ways I, think that I work on changing this. I can't change other people, but I can change me.
Yeah.
And I can work on me. And I can't make other people understand or believe that what we're saying is some stuff that is really imperative in how the world is and what the future looks like for people and relationships and things like that. But I can, be really upset and want to run and feel really hurt by people and abandoned by people. And I can still say, you know what, I'm not going to let that stop me from finding other people and from opening my heart. That is, and that's hard sometimes, but that's what I believe in. I believe that so one of the things that I know for sure is that when I was a kid and I, blocked out things that were happening, I didn't just block out those things, the bad things. I blocked out the good things too. And I missed out on a lot, and I missed out on a lot of really great memories and great things. And I don't want to do that. So I know if I am so hurt and I'm so upset and I'm so angered and I turn into an unkind, closed-hearted woman that doesn't give people a chance, I'm going to miss out on love and friendship and fun and serious talks and heart-to-hearts and all of the things that make me happy, And so that's what I do. What do you guys do? How do you guys overcome that? Like, how do you overcome that? Like, people say I'm crazy to invite so many strangers into my home because I do everything out of my home. We work out of the space, right? And so I love it because, like, when people come for the drum circle or people come for the women's fire or the crystal balls, we do create a community and a family. And that's how I met Lou. I mean, God, I adore her and I love her. And I know that we would be there for each other. So, what do you guys do?
Karen says we do better by doing just that.
Yeah.
Susan, we be better. Jamie says be the change you wish to see in the world.
Yes.
Heather says one thing I've been working on is that when I have a disagreement with someone or a situation that's upsetting, I try to identify my part and fix it. I'm fixing my behavior. I cannot fix theirs.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that.
Bam.
I love that. Taking a look at the part that
Your part is.
what your part is.
Yep.
And
I sometimes even look at, like, well, why is this upsetting me? Why? What about this? Is it that for me, 9 times out of 10, I find it's something that I, if I see whatever that behavior is in that other person, it's a behavior that I don't like about myself. And that's a scary thing to me. I'm like, oh.
I say no matter who wrongs us, we keep on the path of unconditional love.
Yes.
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 I'm going to share this. I wasn't sure if I was going to share this today, and it seems fitting for me anyway in the moment. I went to check on someone I know this morning, and she had taken her life, and barely know her really. So it hurt and I cried, but I don't know her. So it was just something that shook me up. And I was several hours later, I was at the bathroom at work washing my hands and looking at myself in the mirror. And I thought to myself, one of these days I'm not going to be here. And why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because I was just telling Jeff out there before I came in. Because I think that I can speak for myself. I think that I walk around feeling like I'm going to last forever.
Yeah.
I don't understand how fragile I really am because I consider myself to be a force to be reckoned with. I don't consider the fragile nature of those around me. Mm-hmm. And I feel sometimes, I never really think about my own, what's that word called? My own mortality.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that it is going to come to an end. I never think about that. And maybe if I actually did stop to think about that and really let it sink in and maybe even meditate on that, I think that my whole perspective would shift. And being able to recognize the mortality in the people that I associate with would allow me to connect with them on a deeper level. Because I just take for granted that we're going to be here next Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at the both of you, and this could be our last Wednesday. And, Jamie and Anne Marie and everyone, this could be the last Wednesday. And I know these thoughts are happening because of what happened today. But it's the truth for all of us. And maybe if we stopped for just a moment if I stop for just a moment to recognize that I am limited and someday I will expire, maybe then I'll get the preciousness of what I have, and trust will come just a little easier. So I would encourage you guys to maybe think about that in your own life, about your own relationships and who you partner with and how you show up, and taking that connection with people to the next level by taking a moment to observe them and know that this too will come to an end. And I don't say that to be remorseful or to be sad in any way, shape, or form, but I think it elevates our holy nature for that moment when we can look at someone, when I can look at someone and say, I know that we're limited. And while I'm here, while we're in this together, while we're here at this Wednesday night right now, I'm going to show up. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to show up in a way that has you show up, because you know what? We're not going to be here in this form like this forever. Mm-hmm. So if we could shine that light on others and know, I'm going to be here and show up so that you can show up, I think that that's the spiritual change or recognition that I need in order to have this life be so precious. Because it is, each and every one of us. Oh my gosh, if we could see how precious we were in this moment. When you go home, when you're with whoever it is, your significant other, just take a moment. Your kids, your dog, something that you cherish and value. Be with it in a moment and let it sink in that it is finite. And maybe that might change our perspective, change my perspective. Yeah, I think that's all I've got.
I think that's great, and thank you for sharing that. I love that. Jamie said I stopped doing that when I lost my daughter. I used to be the same way. Anne Marie said, my trust has been so My trust has been, I wish I felt that way. My trust has been so I'm in a place where I feel safe being isolated. I'm comforted here, and I have no motivation or want to be around people. But you also rob the people who love you of being with you. So, and there are people who love you and who are good for you. You have some, I know you have me in your life, and I miss you. Maria wrote, love you ladies so much. We love you too. Audra wrote, sometimes I feel like just having my childhood erased so I can look differently and at the family members that failed me. But they fail me still to this day. So I guess it wouldn't change my feelings towards them now. Anyway, the emotional lesson of acceptance will remain there till I forgive them for failing me. Yes, and also till you realize that just because somebody is blood doesn't mean that they are family. There are people that can be not your blood and family. I have two people sitting right here, and there are some of you who are here tonight that I consider my family. So, I feel very, very blessed. My parents are both gone, and I have one brother alive. I've lost two. And so I realize I get to choose who is my family, who I want to, family is who loves you. Family who is who treats you with respect and honor and kindness and is there to catch you when you fall and becomes a soft place to fall. And, like I said earlier, I don't know what I would have done this week without these two ladies here. And my husband really, was amazing this week. So shout out to you, Jeff. I appreciate you so much. And let's have our moment together, Anna, next weekend. You're not my significant other, but you're special to me, and I want that. So that's nice. Are you coming up next weekend? I got to meet you. Susan wrote, I'm glad that I got to catch the live tonight. Unfortunately, I have to sign off and take care of some things here at home. I plan on joining the live next Wednesday. Much love and peace to you all, heart to heart, and we'll never be far apart. Thank you for being here, Susan. It was great having you here. And Heather, we also need to check our expectations of others. My expectations get me in a lot of trouble. Mine too.
Oh, that's a whole that's a
whole
whole ladder in and
yes,
of
yes.
itself, girl.
Yes. Audra said, thank you for these chats. Tracy wrote, family by choice. Agreed. Family by choice. And Louise wrote, thank you so much for sharing this topic tonight. And yes, add the link,
So,
Jamie, right now, please.
Jamie, I'm going to tell the details really quickly. Jamie is raising funds in honor of her daughter, who's my granddaughter, Lily, who passed, who I'll just say passed away at 6 months in utero. So if every dollar absolutely counts, and it holds a special place in my heart. It's marchforbabies.org, Lilybug22. You'll find the link in the chat boxes.
Yes.
And this is really helping Jamie heal, and in honor of my granddaughter, her daughter, Lily.
Can we share that, I wonder? Let's pin it. I'm going to pin that.
Thank you, Jamie,
the
so much
topics.
for taking what is really a tragedy for our family and turning it into something good for others.
So it's also pinned to the page, the Healing Solutions Center page. So if you can't find it in the chat, you can. It's pinned in the comments. Here, so it should be on the top, I believe.
I think so.
Right, of the comments, because I pinned it there. And I will also go on and I will share that on the YouTube. When I put the video on YouTube, I'll put it in there somehow. I'll figure that out. I'll figure it out. And and we can also, if you want to share that, just copy and paste that and share it on all of your Facebook pages. To help this great cause.
Yeah, and it looks like there's $252 raised out of $1,000 She didn't have a voice for good medical care, so I'm going to be her voice with everyone else's. When our voices come together, we can make miracles happen. So it looks like it's about that time. The time goes by so
It did.
That's
quickly.
right.
Yes.
Yeah. Kindness is a superpower. It really is. But don't stand for any BS, okay? That's not what these chicks are saying
Right,
either.
right.
Be crystal clear on that. Life is so precious. Love is all we have. It's true. It's true. Jamie says, no, I don't want it to be over.
I know. Thank you for coming, Karen. And as always, as we're leaving, if we could just, close our eyes and...
I would just like to say one more quick
Okay,
thing.
go ahead.
If you guys know that someone out there who needs to hear this message that you heard tonight, please share this video with them. Send it to them. Maybe even point out to them at what point, oh, you got to listen to halfway through before you hear. I don't know how this Facebook stuff works, but I do believe that there are many people out there that do need to hear this message. So if you know any of them,
Yes.
please share the video.
Yeah.
Tracy, you have a beautiful night
Yes.
as well.
Thank you for coming, Tracy. I love you so much. So if you'll put out your hands, facing it out up into the universe to open up our energy, taking a couple of deep breaths, and just sending love and kindness and healing to all sentient beings, sharing the growth that this experience here tonight has given us. Remembering that we are not alone, that we have each other, or a phone call, a message, a private message, a Facebook phone call away. And I listened to some things, and Denzel says, each one teach one. Each one teach one.
Oh.
Teach kindness, show kindness. Be the example. Be what you love. Don't become what you hate. Sharing our wonderful, positive, happy, loving energy with the world. And I'd like to thank you all for being here tonight, and continue sending that out to everybody throughout the next week. And join us here next Wednesday, 7:30. Share it with your friends and your loved ones. And I love you all. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.